Welcome to a short and sweet yin practice. Remembering for your yin practice, the holds are a little bit longer. We're going to work in the 2 to 3 minute ratio for this practice. We're doing that so that we can open a little bit more the space in the joints, so we can allow the connective tissue, especially the fascia, to release, to have a chance to mobilize without the heat of a dynamic practice. Okay, remember to have a few blocks and props ready if that helps. Any kind of cushions, blankets to roll underneath the knees. You may or may not need these, but they are certainly useful to have accessible. Coming into your comfortable cross-legged position, we're going to begin with Nadi Shodhana. So you might be familiar with mental Nadi Shodhana, working with the awareness. Today we're going to combine the hand mudra for the practice. You're going to work with the index and middle finger, the thumb, and the ring finger. So you're going to place your right index and middle finger on the brow center between the eyes. Allow that right thumb to find the right nostril, ring finger to find the left. Soft touch of the fingertips to that brow center. The elbow is tucking back to the chest, but the shoulder is relaxed, and that left hand can rest anywhere that feels comfortable on the opposite knee. Softening the gaze, closing the eyes. We're going to inhale to prepare through the right nostril. Closing the right nostril, you're going to exhale through the left. At the end of that exhalation, you're going to inhale through the left nostril. Now closing the left nostril, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Closing the right, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Closing the left, exhale through the right. Just continuing a few more rounds at your own pace. If you get lost, just coming back to starting through both nostrils. Completing one more round. Gently release that hand mudra, let it come back down to rest onto the right knee. Eyes are closed, or at the very least, the gaze is still soft. Settling into your Ujjayi breath, creating that sound on both the inhale and exhale. Keeping the eyes closed, rubbing the palms together, creating heat in the hands. Come to cup the palms over the eyelids. Blinking the eyes open, lowering the palms down the front side of the body, interlace, reach up to the ceiling. Exhale, side out, let the fingertips float all the way to the floor. Lifting the legs up, straighten them out, give them a little bit of a shake. Bringing the soles of the feet to touch for your butterfly pose. Remembering to be wider here, heels slightly further away from the body than in our vinyasa practice. Inhale, lengthen into the spine. Exhale, rounding into the upper back, leaning forward. And this is where we're working with blocks, something underneath the knees, any of those options, just to feel supported in that longer hold as the joints start to release. Tucking the chin to the throat, softening forward. Remaining as heavy as you can, as consistent with the breath as you can. Continue with those deep, slow exhalations in particular. Halfway, another 90 seconds to go. Making sure those shoulders are nice and relaxed. "45 seconds to go." We're going to take 5 more deep breaths here. Inhale, slowly lifting up through the spine. Remember to imagine each vertebra stacking one at a time, all the way into the spine, relaxing into the shoulders. Lifting the legs up, taking them quite nice and wide, fingers are facing away from the body. We're going to exhale, drop the legs over to one side, good. Inhale to come up, exhale over to the other side. So remembering those counter poses. Once more to each side. And again, over to the other side, good. Inhale, lifting the legs up. We're gonna just take them up wide, give it a little bit of a shake. Coming into your half dragonfly, let's tuck the right foot in, starting on our left side, always in yin, our feminine side. Again, possibly blanket underneath the bent knee, underneath the extended left leg, even underneath the sit bones. If you have a strap, you have that option to take it over the backs of the feet. When you're ready, inhale, reaching fingertips to ceiling, exhale to rotate, and then folding over your straight leg. Remember, we're softer in the straight leg, we're softer in the upper back, tucking the chin to the throat. And even if you're not using blocks, I quite like to use the support of my fists for my forehead for the first little bit until I'm ready to go that extra depth into the pose. Remember to use the breath to steady the body, to steady the mind. Making any adjustments to move more deeply into the pose if the body feels ready. One more minute. Coming into 5 more breaths here. Inhale very gently, releasing, rounding up through the spine. Remember to allow the chin and head to rise last, coming into your counter twist, looking past your back right shoulder. 3 more breaths here. Slowly release, spine comes to neutral, straightening out. Give the legs a little bit of a shake. Good. Tucking your left foot in, adjusting into the sit bones. If you're working with props underneath any of the knees, underneath the sit bones, taking your strap around the base of the foot. Inhale, reaching those arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, find that twist and softening this time to your right side. Remember, allow that soft curve in the upper back, a little bit softer into the right toes. Feel free to use some props or the fists to support the forehead. Okay, so for example, I'm typically tighter this side than the other side. You might notice that for yourself. So adapt accordingly with the props. And if you have room to go a little bit more deeply into the posture, you can make those adjustments now. Stay nice and heavy in the head for me. Moving into those 5 final deep breaths here. And now very gently begin to walk the hands back up to the body, straightening into the spine, lifting the head, coming into your counter twist, looking past your left shoulder. 3 more breaths here. Just gently release, straightening out, giving a little bit of a shake. We're going to keep both legs straight for your full dragonfly. I would definitely suggest some extra support under the knees, under the sit bones. When you're ready, finding length in the spine, softening into the toes. We're going to walk both hands forward. Make sure you're not walking one hand much further in front of the other hand. Just adjust, rather taper back and keep the fingertips in the same position. You can rest into your forearms. If you're working with blocks, you can have that support. Alternatively, it's quite nice to rest in the hands. Feeling that release down the inside of the thighs into the kidney area. If you are resting the chin to the hands, keep the gaze over the tip of the nose. Perhaps even closing the eyes. Stay with the breath. One more minute remaining in your full dragonfly. Keep the neck and shoulders relaxed for me. Coming into 5 more breaths here. Releasing the hands down to the floor, gently walking the hands back up, straightening into the spine, lifting head and chin last. Use the hands to support bringing the knees in so that the soles of the feet can touch, pulsing up and down a few times. So what we straighten, we bend in the counter pose. What we bend, we typically straighten. Lifting the legs up, we're going to cross over the ankles and coming into your child's pose. Big toes touching, knees nice and wide. Alternatively, you can keep the knees together, wrapping the arms to the sides and forward resting down or stacking into the fists. Okay, that's typically more of a restorative variation. If the hips feel like they can still take a little bit more and you want to work length into the arms, come into your extended child's pose. Remember to soften into the joints, making any adjustments in the first few moments of the posture. even feeling the belly expand and come closer to the inner thighs, and then exhale and soften away from that area. Taking 5 more deep breaths here for me. Inhale nice and slowly. If your arms were extended, walking them back. If they were tucked to the legs, bringing them forward. Coming into your tabletop, very gently giving a nice gentle rotation into the hip and lower back area. Going the other way. Maybe a few cat and cow stretches starting at the base of the spine and then working your way up, incorporating the full length of the spine. Walking the hands one distance in front of the shoulders, tucking your toes under. Come up for a moment into your downward facing dog. Walking it out, bending into the knees, turning the chin from side to side. Lifting the gaze to the hands, stepping forward, coming into a seated position. Straightening the legs out, giving them a little bit of a shake. Again, you might want something underneath the knees for a bit of support, or with the strap coming into your caterpillar. Inhale, reaching the arms overhead, exhale to soften. Remembering here that we, again, are softer. We're relaxed in the shoulders, but that chin is always tucking back towards the throat. Okay? Feeling that release down the backs of the legs, into the lower back and kidney area, softening in the shoulders. There's something called Apana Prana, which is a type of prana, a type of energy that moves downwards in the legs. Okay, it's our elimination, elimination of toxins, of waste, and that Apana Prana is all about the removal of what the body doesn't need. So in this posture, when you feel those sensations down the leg, try and reflect on it as being a process of letting go, of letting the body release that which it no longer needs, and stimulating that direction, that flow of energy downwards and out of the body. Stay relaxed in the shoulders. 5 more breaths. Inhale, slowly rounding up through the spine, one vertebra at a time, relaxing into the shoulders. Good. Scooching to the top of your mat, bending your knees, hugging the shins, dropping the forehead down to the knees. Give that upper back a nice round, nice stretch from the base of the neck down. Gently release the hands nice and slowly, one vertebra at a time, till you're flat on your back. Let those knees naturally come to the chest, giving it a little rock from side to side. Circle into the hips, giving your knees space in this variation. Change direction. You might want to place the feet flat. Take a few rounds of your supine twist, keeping the knees and ankles stacked. So we'll just do one more to each side. And then slowly release the legs straight down, giving yourself any final adjustments for your Shavasana. Palms facing upwards, close to the body but not touching. Closing the eyes when you're ready. Creating that strong shape change in the lower abdominal cavity, so breathing in, belly rising. Breathing out, belly falling, belly softening. Taking a few moments to scan through your body, and this time noticing the difference in sensations after yin practice compared to the more dynamic practice you had earlier in the week. Specifically checking in lower back, hip joints, hamstrings. With the eyes closed, you can very softly start to brush the thumb over each finger. Bring any movements that feel good to the wrists and the ankles. And when you're ready, inhale, reaching the arms overhead, taking a full breath in. Side out through the mouth. And then bending into the knees, rolling onto whichever side feels most comfortable, most natural. And then using your top arm to press yourself up and coming back to your original seated position. Palms facing downwards, resting on the knees. We'll inhale to prepare. Side out through the mouth. Again. Once more. Bringing your hands to prayer. Namaste. Thank you.